Welcome to. Wait a minute, guys. Hold 1 second. I know y'all see that. Some people won't understand this. Most people won't give a shit. I might be the only person that cares about this. But before I get into my traditional intro, I just want to say I have officially added another slash to my Instagram bio. I am officially an electrician because yes, that light that has not worked since I moved into this motherfucker, I fixed that.
There you go.
Your boy, me.
Some
respect on my name.
Yeah, like
I'm really like that. I'm like, honestly, I'm one of them.
Sir,
I really am one of them.
What? Come on,
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? All right, let me get this. Now that everybody knows that I'm the greatest electrician maybe of all time. I mean, I don't want to hyperbolize it or anything like that. We can officially get started.
The thing is, actually,
this light.
I respect that so much because the first time I fixed the toilet, I was like, "Damn, am I a plumber?" I was like, "Oh, I don't ever need to call
Mario Brothers because Malik Mario is here." You know what I'm saying?
Got the jumpsuit and everything, dude.
You just got to figure out what your color is going to be. It's like blue, like, you know what I mean? We got to figure out what the color is.
Right, Wario's got yellow or purple.
Is he purple or is that Waluigi?
Yeah,
I think Wario's purple. Yeah, but like I think yellow's like probably taken
or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Really throw them all.
I like it. Off the beaten path, not one of your like Crayola colors. You know what I'm saying? This is you got to get the 64 pack at least to get this color. Yeah. I like that. We'll do that. All right. Welcome back into an all new episode of the No Rules Podcast. I'm Aaron Hilton, as always, joined by my main man Malik Smith. Malik, what up?
What it is,
man? I'm good. I'm feeling good. I'm energized. I'm excited. I'm filled with anticipation. It's brimming. It's basically about to spill over for me, Malik. I don't know if you've heard. The Red Sox made moves this past weekend. You know, and not just moves up in the AL East as we swept your shitty ass Yankees. We made moves as a franchise. Dumb moves, but moves nonetheless.
Okay, please enlighten me. Enlighten me to the moves that were made that were maybe not so smart.
So for those of you who don't follow baseball or who do follow baseball and have been living under a rock for the last, week or so, the Red Sox have officially dealt third baseman and previous face of the franchise, Rafael Devers, to the San Francisco Giants for a box of scraps. For the aforementioned 64-pack of Crayola crayons, honestly, if you really want to get into it. Kyle Harrison is the gem, quote-unquote, of the deal, if you can call it that. I don't really want to get into the players that we received. I don't want to disrespect people that have not put on the jersey yet. There is still a chance for them to be good players. This is not about them. So I don't want to get into that part of it. I'm sure there are 1,000 pods and Buster Olney and Jeff Passan getting into all that stuff. This is an emotional outburst from a Red Sox fan. This is something that has been stewing in my brain since the news crossed my phone. My cousin, actually, who's a Braves fan, texted me like, "Man, what do you think about the trade?" And I thought he was talking about the Memphis trade when they, because Memphis, they traded their shooting guard to Orlando for 4 first-round picks, right? Yeah, Desmond Bain is now on Orlando Magic. So that's what I thought he was talking about. He's like, no, Rafael Devers, and he sent me the screenshot, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? But yeah, Malik, I will say this, man. So this starts, and a lot of people want to say, oh, it starts with Mookie Betts. This goes before Mookie Betts. This is going all the way back to John Lester and the way that this organization has conducted. But yeah, we going back. I could go back to Nomar, but the Nomar was one that made sense. That was one that had to happen. That's one that, looking back, it's like, I get it. I understand, because he really was poisoning that locker room. He was pouting. He refused to go in that Yankees game, which I'm sure delighted you. And, for years, it was always Jeter versus Nomar for us, which is very one-sided affair in terms of accomplishments, because Jeter had, I think, 3 or 4 rings at that point, and Nomar had none. Nomar probably the better offensive player. Neither one of them that great defensively, but Jeter contributed to winning. So, and no one would argue that Jeter's not the better overall player of all time. So, like, that's, we'll put that on the shelf. But that deal notwithstanding, this harkens me back to John Lester and the team undercutting one of our homegrown staff aces who had delivered us a World Series, who had fought through a cancer diagnosis to get back to regain that top prospect status. John Lester, the first time most Red Sox fans heard his name was he was going to be the prospect included in the A-Rod deal before y'all snaked us. So John Lester has been in and out of Red Sox fans' lives for a very, very long time, and we finally saw those things come to fruition. We had a homegrown ace. He was, the one of the faces of the team. He was a guy that contributed greatly to the 2007 World Series ring that we won as a franchise, or the you know what I mean, like, or no, 2013, no, 07 and 2013 actually. I think he started the game deciding game actually in the in the 2007 World Series, if I'm not mistaken. So it just reminds me of that, because you have a guy that you should want to give the world to, right? This is like the Yankees not wanting to re-sign Andy Pettitte. You know what I mean? This is like the Yankees giving up on, I'm not going to say Jeter, because, Rafi is not Jeter level, but like, okay, what if you just let Jorge Posada go? You know what I mean? As much as Jorge has meant to your team, to your franchise, and as historic as he has been playing for you guys, you know what I mean? Like, he's no Yogi Berra, but he's a very good catcher, good on offense, handles that pitching staff quite well, and can handle the media quite well. Rafael Devers, for whatever you want to say his faults are, you knew that when you signed him to the $300 million deal. And even if Breslow wasn't the GM at the time, or president of baseball operations, whatever they're calling that position at this point in time, you as an ownership group made that deal. And you made that deal because when you hired Chaim Bloom back in the COVID year, you hired him to trade Mookie Betts. And you didn't think that this fan base would snap back at you the way that they did. And then after trading Mookie Betts and getting nothing for him, and then letting Xander Bogaerts walk in free agency, Rafael Devers was your last tie to a World Series ring. Now, every single player that's on this team, all they are is hope, all they are is promise. There is no tie to winning. There is no clips of them, even in the postseason, really. There's nothing that says this is Red Sox tradition. This is how we do it on the Red Sox. I love Alex Bregman. I think he's a great signing. He's turned out to be even better than I expected him to be when he put on a Red Sox uniform. But for all that he is, and he is a World Series champion in his own right, he's not a Red Sox. That's not a traditional guy. That's not a homegrown guy. And there's something to be said about bringing up a homegrown talent and allowing that talent to flourish in a home market. And the Red Sox just getting rid of that because you guys had a pissing contest in the middle of a downswing in your regular season. I just think that that's wrong. Now, I don't think Rafael Devers handled the situation very well, but I mean, I don't know. How would you feel if the Yankees all of a sudden decided, like, I think we might get rid of Aaron Judge? You know?
I think, okay, you've made 3 references to Yankee players who Rafael Devers couldn't even sniff their jockstrap. So, like, let's just
Rafael Devers has a ring. Aaron Judge does not have a ring. So I don't want to hear that.
Calm the fuck down, okay?
Rafael Devers,
all right,
has a ring. Aaron Judge does not.
Bro,
that's just the facts.
He's not even anywhere close to as good as Aaron Judge. But to answer your question, I would feel very disappointed if my team traded a player, to your point, who was core to us winning something, who had ties to the organization. At the same time, I would be disappointed in said player if he couldn't, like, move a position and then move to another position because the team needed it. Like, from the beginning of the season, I was very confused as to why he seemed to be so anti, I don't know how to phrase it, but he just wasn't trying to play ball with the team and, like, do what was necessary, right? And whatever his feelings were, like he felt like Bregman took his spot, whatever the case. Like he he wasn't good at the position he was playing. They asked him to move a position. Then what they asked him to DH or something like that. Like I don't remember what they.
Yeah, so he was.
Yeah,
What happened was, so Rafael Devers played a lot of the last couple of seasons with a very bad. I think it was like a shoulder or some kind of upper body injury. I think it was like a shoulder or arm injury. So especially towards the end of last season, he was dealing with this injury. Got it dealt with in the offseason. He came to spring training early, January even, before pitchers and catchers report, which they're normally the first ones to report spring training. He's there early so they can oversee the rest of his recovery process. He's going in there fresh off of signing that $300 million deal the past offseason, where they promised him that he would be the face of the franchise. He's going to be, at least for the foreseeable future, the third baseman. I don't think anybody expected him to play third base for, the entirety of that 10-year deal. But for at least, he should have at least been able to make it to 30 years old playing the field. Then what happened was the front office, and Craig Breslow specifically, told him, when rumors came out that they were sniffing around on Alex Bregman, that even if we do bring him in, we're bringing him in as a second baseman. Then they bring him in. They're like, don't worry about it. He's going to play second base. And then throughout spring training, he doesn't even, aside from like the first day that he signed, taking some, double play grounders or practicing the double play turn with Trevor Story, probably for like photo ops. That's the only time he ever even touched second base. No other time did he ever line up as he was taking grounders at third. He was playing third in the spring training games, and that perked up the antennas for Rafael Devers. And then sometime a few weeks after that, they finally got up the gumption, or Alex Cora specifically, to tell Rafael Devers, like, hey, put your glove away. You don't need it. You're going to be our DH. You're going to be our everyday DH. You're going to bat second. And that's going to be what's best for the team. And, Rafael Devers, as you saw with Gleyber Torres last year, and not wanting to move off of second base when you guys went and got Jazz Chisholm, it's a point of pride for a lot of these players, and especially if you're talking about foreign-born players.
Here's the difference.
So,
well, not the difference. Here's the thing with Gleyber and with Devers. If you suck at the position, then guess what? Like, it's better if
Gleyber also sucked at second base.
That's
so
what I'm saying. That's what I'm
saying.
saying. And it was stupid of him to be like, he didn't want to move and let Jazz play second base. So Jazz was like, okay, cool. I'll play a position I've never played before. And he was better at third base than Gleyber was at second base. Like, to me, especially what was confusing to me with Devers, they gave you the extension, right? They gave you the contract. They want you to be the face of the franchise. If they're asking you like, hey, we need you to do this, I just thought it was weird, his reaction to it, as if he was being disrespected. Now, I get it, point of pride, whatever the case. I just, to me, it reeks of like, dude, it's not a leader move for you to like kind of make a very public thing of it the way he did. Like, if you have an issue with, with it, and you talk to Cora and you're like, yo, I think this is BS, whatever, behind the scenes, I think to let it get out and to be kind of so public about it, it just sort of soured from the beginning, the whole relationship, to the point that when he got traded, I was like, oh, that isn't really surprising at all, because kind of seemed like he was, throughout the season, kind of still a little bit like pouty about it. But I mean, you watch the team every day, so maybe you could tell me different.
The surprise doesn't come that Rafael Devers overall got traded, because it actually happened at the time because again, when it first came out that he was flat refusing to move to first base, he didn't want to help the Red Sox at all. He was, being very pouty. Again, I'm not moving off of how I felt about that. I thought it was a very bitchy move from Rafael Devers. I thought it was not good as a teammate. It wasn't good for the clubhouse. It wasn't good as a leader. You've made your money. That $300 million is guaranteed. Baseball is a guaranteed contract. So whether it's you or the insurance company, when you're injured, you're going to get the entirety of that money. So that's not an issue that you have to worry about just because they take you off the field. You can't just do the NFL thing where you sever the contract and then you don't get it anymore. That's your money. So for me, it becomes, okay, all that you ever heard from Rafael Devers for the last couple of years, after the 2018 World Series, after Mookie Betts was unceremoniously traded away because they didn't want to pay him, after they let Xander Bogaerts go in free agency because they didn't want to pay him, and then they gave that same money to Trevor Story, who's even worse. That all Rafael Devers could talk about is what the team needed, and we need to be better, and we need better pitching, and need better this, and we need to play better defense, and this, which is ironic, and this and this and this. But when it's time for you to step up and do what you need to do to make the team better, to help the team, to kind of humble yourself and be like, hey, I'm going to have to do something that maybe I don't necessarily want to do, but if all I'm going to talk about when I'm talking to the media is what the team needs to do to be better, and I'm telling before Breslow, he's telling the GM how to do their job and that they need to do their job better. It's like, well, no one's come to you and said, well, hey, buddy, you're statistically the worst third baseman, at least in the AL, if not all of baseball. And no one's telling you anything. We're paying you $300 million to give us 20 errors at third base and hit 30 bombs with 100 RBIs. So to that end, it's like kind of shut up and help the team out. It's not to say like, hey, you don't get to have a voice. It's not to say like, hey, they didn't lie to you and handle things the wrong way. But like at a certain point, you're in the middle of the fight here. We just got ourselves within legitimate striking distance of the Yankees. You know, we cut Xerxes. We saw the quote unquote the God bleed. You know, we had like a 10-game deficit a week and a half ago going into the Bronx, and we have seen that dwindle all the way down to what is it, like a 5.5 or a 5-game lead, pending whatever happens today with you guys. And tonight with our Red Sox as we record this on Friday evening. So it's like I don't understand the timing of the trade from the Red Sox perspective because we just got back into the fight. But for Rafael Devers, a guy that's seemingly all he's wanted to do is win. The Red Sox have pacified him the entire time. They haven't gotten on him about fitness. They haven't gotten on him about playing better defense, about positioning himself better, about like what maybe the marriage of fitness and, you know, more of a commitment in the offseason could do to improve your defense. You know, because I mean, for a guy that came up when he was 20 years old, I mean, it's not like he's gotten any slimmer. It's not like he's reached the peak of his powers and been like, he hasn't had the I'm in the best shape of my life offseason yet. And you know, every star has that, you know? You'll be like, even Jokic had that. Like before the bubble, you saw Jokic and people Jokic showed up to the bubble and he was like 70 pounds lighter than he had ever been in his NBA career. And they're like, who the fuck is this skinny guy parading around wearing a number 15 jersey? You know what I mean? And turns out he's now a 3-time MVP and a world champion. So it's something that has been frustrating as a Red Sox fan is watching that happen. I am not willing to take the company side on this because the Red Sox and Craig Breslow specifically have made it their business to piss off Red Sox fans, loyal Red Sox fans, and all they do is parade around the same bullshit that Yankees fans paraded in our face for years. Well, look at our track record, or oh, look at our rings. Who fucking, your last ring was 7 years ago. Get a grip. Get a grip. You have one postseason appearance since you won the World Series. Now, Angel Hernandez has some answering to do because that curveball was a strike, and it probably cost us a trip to the World Series. Nate Eovaldi deserved better. But outside of that, one magical 2021 postseason run, there has not been almost anything to root for in Red Sox fandom past the All-Star break in any season. So for us, what we've had to get over is homegrown talent leaving. You have John Lester leaving, winning a World Series with the Cubs. Homegrown talent, Mookie Betts, probably could have been the best homegrown Red Sox ever if you would have let him just stay with the team where he wanted to stay. He just wasn't going to take a hometown discount like everybody else was willing to take, which is his right? As the generational talent that he is. So instead of signing Mookie Betts to a deal that he's earned, you let him go to the Dodgers, and what do you get in return? 3 years of Alex Verdugo, or 2.5, because, you know, COVID year was like a half of a year. So 2.5 years of Alex Verdugo. Peter Downs, who was named after Derek Jeter, who was a rival, and then he sucked in the major leagues so bad that we DFA'd him and no one picked him up. He's not even in baseball anymore. And then Connor Wong, who is now our backup catcher, because the guy that we traded, you know, in a sneaky move in the offseason with you guys that no one really paid attention to, Carlos Narvaez, it took him a week to take Connor Wong's job. So what do we have to show for trading one of the best Red Sox that we've had in the 21st century? Nothing. What do we have to show for allowing one of our generational superstars in Xander Bogaerts to walk in free agency? Well, we'll see what happens with Roman Anthony, who was taken with the compensatory pick that they got when Bogaerts walked as a free agent. Great. Roman Anthony, he has 2 hits as a major leaguer. So clap, clap. Being the number one prospect does not make you a great baseball player at all. Hitting a 500-foot home run in AAA doesn't make you a great baseball player at all. And with the track record that we have, I hope he doesn't become that good. Because if he is, he's just going to get traded. We are almost as like honestly speaking, I would rather have the Dallas Mavericks general manager than Craig Breslow running the Red Sox. That is my honest opinion. I would so much rather.
Oh, you're on fire right now. I'm sorry, you're just cooking. Go ahead, please.
Like it's unfathomable when you go back and look at the things that they gave up, the returns that they weren't able to secure in exchange for these generational talent players. Like, just, and I hate to keep going back to the Mookie Betts deal, but it is unfathomable that a player that was already established as a champion, an MVP, a Silver Slugger, an All-Star, a Gold Glover, a great guy, a 5-tool player, he is willing to play any and everywhere. He just wants to be on the field. And he's one of the best athletes this organization has ever had matriculate through the system. So, and you see it now, he's playing shortstop for the Dodgers after signing there as a right fielder. So he has one World Series as a shortstop, he has one as a right fielder for the Dodgers. His bust in Canton is going to be, or in Cooperstown, is going to be Dodger blue. And it drives me fucking nuts that that's something that we have to deal with. And they're like, well, at least I have something to show for it. No, the fuck you don't. Alex Verdugo, who was solid in the COVID year, got progressively worse, leaves, goes to the fucking Yankees unceremoniously. Jeter Downs, like we said, he sucked. Connor Wong, at best, a replacement level catcher. He's really like probably a AAA, like a shuttle guy. You know what I mean? Shuttle back and forth. There's no disrespect to him. He had a really good, solid season last year, but he's just not a starting level catcher, and he was never supposed to be that. So you don't have anything to show for trading this guy. Then Xander Bogaerts would have signed for us. The year before he hit free agency, he just wanted a like $100 million deal. He wanted a 9-figure deal. He had earned it. 2-time World Series champion, one of the best hitters for the Red Sox that we have had on the right side of the plate since Manny Ramirez, at least numbers-wise. Multiple Silver Slugger awards, 300 batting average, 20 stolen bases, 25-plus home runs. He's what you want, even if, you know, the baseball nerds don't favor his defense. He's a lot better defender than even they would account for. You sign Trevor Story to the contract that Xander Bogaerts wanted. You sign Trevor Story to that. Xander Bogaerts doesn't pout. He doesn't get angry about it. He plays out. He plays his hardest. He's doing everything he can to ingratiate Trevor to the team and all that. All the great things. But now you're dealing with the Scott Boras client. So if you're going to let me hit free agency, now instead of taking that team-friendly $100 million deal, I'm going to go and get the most money that I can get. And the Padres ponied up with $280 million. So it's not that, oh, he signed for $280, the Red Sox saved themselves. No, he would have signed for much less. And honestly, it's hard to hit in San Diego. That wall made Xander Bogaerts a better hitter. So there's no doubt in my mind if he would have stayed in Boston, he would have been a better hitter than he's ever been since going to the Padres. And now you have this with Rafael Devers. He's going to San Francisco. The Red Sox have to play him for the first time tonight. They trade him off the plane. They pull him off the team fucking plane, Malik, and send him to San Francisco, knowing that in 4 days, we have to go to San Francisco to play against this guy. What the fuck are you doing?
That was
of all the teams that you're going to trade him for, the team that you're about to play in less than a fucking week is who you trade him to, and you don't even get their best prospect. So our best hitter, who's not even going to turn 28 until October, or 29 until October, who is in the prime of his career, who is having the second best DH season behind Shohei Ohtani this year, was probably going to start at DH in the AL. You trade him to the Giants, who you're going to play in 5 days, and you get former number one pitching prospect for the San Francisco Giants, who you sent to AAA because you admitted, even at 23, he's not major league ready. He needs some retooling. Jordan Hicks, who is a failed starter, who they moved to the bullpen, who's in the IL. So who knows what you're going to get out of that outside of a 98-mile-an-hour fastball that doesn't move. And then some minor leaguer who they drafted in the first round who's 22 years old and barely got past AA. So I don't know what to think anymore about this team. They don't have any equity with the fans. They don't have any equity with me. And it's like, I'm going to root for the team because I love the team. But they make it so hard on the fans, for the fans to love this team, because the people that fell in love with this team fell in love with the fact that we did things differently than the Yankees. And we talk differently as fans than the Yankees. And we were a big market team with big pockets that had small market appeal. You know, we overpaid for Johnny Damon to get him off of the A's. But then we were the lovable idiots, and he had the Jesus beard and the long flowy hair and all that stuff. So it was like, big market team, you're still paying the big bucks, but it kind of feels small markety. We're taking shots at Jack Daniels in the ALCS, you know, because who fucking cares? It's the Yankees. We're supposed to lose this game. You know what I mean? Like, we have small market appeal for a big market team, and we've lost it. We've lost our character. We've lost our edge. And Craig Breslow has lost his fucking mind. And I hope he gets fired.
Wow. At least you guys won a couple games against the Yankees in the middle of June.
That's great. If we win the World Series, Craig Breslow should still be fired. Like, there's just no defending.
I think maybe
anything.
Maybe don't throw the World Series out when you're only 2 games over 500. Maybe calm down.
I'm saying as a example of, oh, well, if you win, you're going to change. No. Because what you're also doing is you're showing the rest of the major leagues how you treat not only your superstars, but your homegrown superstars. You didn't want to pay Mookie. You didn't want to pay John Lester. You didn't want to pay Xander Bogaerts. And clearly, because of the return that you were willing to accept from this team and the fact that you weren't even willing to shop Devers around or wait until the All-Star break to see if he either fell or if someone could make a better offer, you didn't want to pay Devers, who you just decided to pay 2 years ago. The biggest thing that they gained out of that, has been widely reported, is that the Giants were willing to take the full remainder of Devers' contract. So John Henry's not on the hook for the rest of the $313 million contract. So, which he has like 8.5 years with this season plus another 8 years after this left on that contract. So, like, what is it? If I'm Marcelo Meyer, if I'm one of the big three, Marcelo Meyer, Christian Campbell, Roman Anthony, why the fuck should I be excited about all the hype they're throwing behind me? Because when it's time to pay me, all that they have shown me from players that will have busts in the Hall of Fame, with John Lester and Mookie Betts, more likely Mookie Betts than John Lester, you're looking at a Hall of Famer, at least Mookie, right? And with at least one or two of the other guys, you could have had their numbers retired, just like David Ortiz's on that little wall out there in right field, because of the type of player that they were and what they meant to the franchise and career guys. And at the very, very least, somebody that you could have rooted for 15 to 20 years and been proud to say he was a career Red Sox. There's no loyalty with this team. They just cut ties with you. They type your name into a little fucking computer and then they decide, oh, well, my model says that you don't pay a DH. Fuck what your fucking model says. Rafael Devers signed with this team at 16 years old, and 4 years later, he's hitting a home run off of the best closer in baseball, in Aroldis Chapman, in Yankee Stadium. That's fucking huge. That's fucking huge. Dude, you can't teach that. So he's not a great leader. He's not a great this. You were the one who paid him $300 million. You didn't have to do that. So the things that they're doing and the decisions that they're making, it's ugly. It's disgusting. I don't like it. I can't be excited about fucking anything. If Roman Anthony turns his season around and hits 20 bombs and steals Rookie of the Year from Jacob Wilson of the Oakland A's, of the A's, which isn't going to happen, but if he did, I can't be excited about him, because what's going to happen in 5-6 years when he's off arbitration and now it's time to sign him to a long contract? We're going to fucking trade him, because that's what we've done. And it doesn't matter who's in the front office. Everyone we've brought in, that's what they do. That's been the mandate. As long as John Henry owns this team, that's what they've shown that they're going to do. They're going to build these guys up so they can trade them, and then John Henry can go buy another fucking Champions League team or another NHL team, or maybe he wants to get into the WNBA next. Maybe someone wants to sell him the fucking Connecticut Sun or some shit. Who knows? He owns what? Chelsea or Liverpool, whatever the fuck team he owns with LeBron James and all them motherfuckers, and then he owns the Pittsburgh Penguins and shit. I hope they boo that motherfucker every single time he's on the big board, so bad that they shame him into not showing up. It has been a fucking disaster, and it's embarrassing to be a Red Sox fan right now, because this isn't something that you do. It's not how you do business. And I don't know why any free agent would want to sign here unless you overpay to bring him here. And the Red Sox have proven they don't want to overpay.
I would argue it's been embarrassing to be a Red Sox fan just generally, but
I don't have anything to say in contrast to that. I'm happy that we won 5 out of 6 from your sorry ass evil empire, but like that's the fact that that's probably going to be the highlight of my season is just as sad as it sounds. Like that's fucking brutal.
yeah,
All the hype and the promise that was, oh, Christian Campbell, and they signed him to this 80 million. Well, he's in AAA now, so awesome. Great. So glad we signed that guy to, a 6-year, 8-year, whatever extension, 60 million and all that stuff. And he rapidly ascended through the minor leagues just to get sent back down because once people figured out not throwing him a fastball out over the plate is a bad idea, he couldn't hit above the Mendoza line. And kids are going to go through growing pains. I'm sure he'll have a great big league career, but like, what are you selling me? A bill of fucking goods. Roman Anthony, he hit a 400-foot home run. He's got 2 fucking hits in a week and a half at the big league level. You want to sell because he has a great plate presence and he takes good walks. I don't give a fuck about walks. Don't give a shit. Hit the fucking baseball. And you shouldn't have to be that way about a 21-year-old kid who 3 years ago was graduating high school. But this is a position that you put me in when you trade every other player that's worth a damn, and the other 2 veterans that you have on the team are on the IL for the rest of the year. In Casas and, whenever Bregman comes off, maybe the All-Star break. That's the position that we're in. There's a bunch of fucking 22-year-old kids who should be just learning how to become big leaguers, and you're throwing them into the middle of at least a wild card race, and you're forcing this grind of a fucking Boston media on them with no protection, no veteran leadership, nobody who's been to this team for more than 2 years with any kind of expectation, with any kind of post. They don't know. No one on this team can tell them what it's like to play in a postseason game in Boston. None of them.
listen, I hear everything you're saying. You've seriously unloaded like a 100-round clip at the Red Sox. I'm truly impressed. The only thing I can say, and I'm not going to try to make any sort of, allowances for the return that they got. The Mookie trade was probably one of the worst trades, not just in baseball, but in sports history. So, like,
the Red Sox have 2 of the worst trades in baseball history.
I would never defend that. But one thing I can say when you talked about leadership, and I said this before, I can only assume that Devers was not making the locker room awesome. And that led to the fact that the team was just like, all right, we have all these young guys. Maybe we need to get this guy out of here because he just doesn't want to be here and he's only making the situation worse. That's the only out that I could potentially give. Because like you said, they didn't chop him. It kind of happened out of nowhere. They didn't even wait for the All-Star break. Like, it was random. But that doesn't make it a good trade. It just my thing is, in these situations, maybe one side is just like, you know what? I'm going to show you, right? Like, I don't really care. And I'm not saying that's smart business. That's the only thing that kind of makes sense because otherwise it's like, why would you do this? But yeah,
it's possible that both sides be wrong.
Yeah,
I think both sides are wrong. Devers was wrong with how he dealt with it. He was wrong with the way
when
that
you have a player under contract, I can deal with a player being pissed off for a year, like, unless he's just like, trade me.
Right.
If he's like pouty, like, you have players have long careers. Baseball for sure, they have long careers if you're really good, right? You can be pouty for a year, come back the next year and be like, you know what, I was an asshole last year, and this year I'm trying to be better. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
I think you should be given that grace, like you said, unless you were just like, hey man, trying to get up out of this contract. Let's just move this guy. That's kind of the only thing that really makes sense. So I don't know.
And that's what they do. They unceremonious. I didn't even mention when they let Terry Francona go and then try to call him a pill popper on the way out. You know what I mean? Like the guy who reversed the curse for you, the guy who got you 2 World Series in a 3-year span. Yeah, that guy. You gave him the boot in 2011, and on the way out, you were like, yeah, he's got a pill addiction, and we can't have that. Or blah blah blah. I'm like, are you fucking serious? This dude, Terry Francona, should have been able to have carte blanche. I don't care if he never won. If we didn't, I would be willing to give up the last 2 World Series that we have. And it sounds ridiculous, but to be able to, because I don't think that we would have gone without any, but I would be willing to sacrifice the guarantee of those 2 World Series to see what it would have been like to have like Terry Francona be our Joe Torre. You guys wouldn't have kicked Joe Torre out of the Yankees dugout for any reason.
Making a lot of Yankees references. I feel like you kind of like us.
Saying because you can relate. This is what you can relate to.
I feel like we kind of respect, the ring.
I have the ultimate respect for Derek Jeter, the ultimate respect for Mariano Rivera. I have the ultimate respect for Bernie Williams, one of the greatest postseason hitters that no one really talks about. I have the utmost respect for Joe Torre and how difficult it is, the job that he had to do at the peak of those Yankees teams, especially in the late 90s, early 2000s. So, yes, that's what part of the rivalry is. You don't have hate without love. I don't hate anybody that I don't have any kind of love for. I couldn't hate the Yankees if there wasn't a part of me that was like, I love that rivalry. I love the fact that, God damn it, I can't hate that biracial angel Derek Jeter. I just can't. Maybe it's the green. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I've never been able to hate him.
Very lovable.
He's an intoxicating human being. He plays the game the right way. And he's the kind of guy that you just want to have in your fucking dugout. Everything about him is just cool. So it was awesome to have that as your rival for all those years. And I have the utmost respect for him. But I'm just saying because it's something that you can relate to as a Yankees fan. And just in close proximity, that's what I would compare it to because that's the only other successful franchise in our division. Yeah. The other teams suck. So I was like, who am I going to compare them to? I mean, Joe Madden had a run, but he never won a World Series. So it was like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like it's well, not for that. He won for the Cubs, but not for the Rays.
Yeah, he never really had that respect with the Rays for whatever reason.
Right. Exactly. He had the cool the cool bifocals that everybody mimicked and stuff like that. But other than that, he didn't really win anything till he teamed up with our boy out in Chicago, and Theo reversed another curse. Theo, the greatest front office exec of all time, even higher than Billy Beane. But enough about the shitty ass Red Sox. I hope they get swept this weekend. I hope Rafael Devers hits 4 home runs, and then we can put it all behind us. Off to the NBA.
I don't think you're going to put it behind you, but go ahead. I think this is probably going to linger for a little bit, but
that's why it's hope.
And that's
hope. Yeah, it's hope. It's hope. It's not going to happen. You're right, but it's hope. I hope that it happens. But yeah, so on to the NBA Finals, man. Game 7. Didn't think it would be here, Malik. I didn't think it would be here, especially coming out of Game 5. With the Halliburton injury and the hamstring, and would he play? Would he not play? Is this going to be like the TJ McConnell coming out game? Still kind of was. But just give me, I bloviated for a while about the Red Sox. How did you feel about that Game 5, the Game 6 performance?
Disappointing. Because I feel like blowouts in the NBA Finals, they don't, it's like now I'm sitting here for, a whole, especially credit to Indiana for putting it on them. But pretty much the whole second half is just like, all right, what are we doing here? Like, I feel like Dagnall was like, should I pull the starters? Like, should we just play for Game 7? Like he was kind of in, kind of out on it. The broadcast, they don't know what to talk about then. It's just like the game just sort of stinks. But I mean, obviously exciting that we get a Game 7 in the series. Game 7 is always going to be awesome. I'm always a fan of, I want every game to be high leverage, right? Like I want every game to go into clutch time. I want every game to be, seriously, I mean, don't you? I mean, it's like, I want every game to be within 5 points within the last 5 minutes. Like I want a reason to watch. Like I don't want to watch somebody get rolled by 30.
No one wants to watch the 30-point the rollover, and that's a big reason why I didn't end up watching that game. It was date night, so I didn't watch a lot of it to begin with. Shout out to my lovely fiance, but I didn't find myself inclined to rush home from date night and watch it, or when we went to a bar after dinner, I didn't want to be like, hey, let's sit by the bar so I could at least kind of like sneak a glance at the game, because like I looked as we were driving at a red light, of course, because I'm a safe driver. Wink. I saw it was a 30-point game, and I was like, yeah, I really don't care about this. I don't need to watch it. I know who's gonna
Let
win
me ask
this.
you this: if it was a 5-point game, would you have been like, I gotta go to the bar?
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be that.
Would you
It just
really?
has to be good. Bad.
Or would you just been like, I'll wait till I get home and see what happens?
I wouldn't have rushed, but I would have been like, I felt like I would have been more intentional about when we got to wherever we were getting, being it like when we got, because we went to this little lounge type of, everywhere in Atlanta is like a hookah lounge because everywhere has hookah. So little hookah lounge called Blue Cantina, and we decided to sit outside. She was like, "You want to sit inside or outside?" And I was like, "Man, wherever you want to sit." If it was a 5-point game, I'd have been like inside because that's where the TVs are, and I would have been able to find the TV that had the game on it. But because I knew it was a blowout, I was like, I'll just keep checking the box score in case something crazy happens. But for the most part, I'm kind of cool with not watching this game. So I honestly don't know how it got to this point because I watched zero of that whole game, and it's the first game all series that I haven't watched any bit of. So that was an interesting dichotomy because I usually do watch, make time to watch the NBA finals. But yeah, I gotta say I was impressed with the with Halliburton gutting it out. I was impressed with TJ McConnell and the way that he showed up in such a big way. And then just Indiana, the Pacers in general, forcing a game 7. I don't think they win this game 7, but getting it to a game 7 just shows that, we shouldn't have expected anything less of a Rick Carlisle team.
I listen. I feel like, yeah, I guess we shouldn't expect anything less considering the run, right? Like we saw all the craziness of the season, or the postseason, excuse me, and we should have just, been like, we should have assumed that there was a possibility, but the amount of crazy wins that they had, you can't expect them to have pulled off another one of those in game 1. They've hit so many threes in this series. Like the disparity in 3-pointers, specifically the last like two to 3 games, has been like really, really crazy. So yeah, like if you tell me OKC's going to shoot terribly from 3 again, then yeah, Indiana's probably going to win the fucking finals because like the math just ain't mathing for OKC if they keep taking mid-range jump shots. But yeah, credit to Indiana, man. Like I definitely thought this would be 5-game series, if not a sweep. The fact that they pushed to 7, um, it's impressive. It's super impressive, and I hate saying it. We've already covered this. Fuck the Pacers. It's funny. My brother was like, "Wouldn't it be good if they won the finals because then you could say that your team lost their team to win a championship?" I
No.
said, "Dude, are you fucking new here? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, no,
Like,
no.
what are you
I'm
talking
like
about?"
that
Like,
about I am like that about the NFL because it's like a one off. There's no series.
no,
But any instance where there's a series, no. When
dude.
it's just a one off and you can win or lose one game and that determines whether or not you move on. It's like whatever. If you beat us, you better go on a run. You know what I'm saying?
But here's my thing: the chances that I lose to, but it doesn't really matter who I lose to because, especially in a super high intensity game, like I'm not just like, oh, great game. Like I'm really proud of the team that kicked our ass. Like, no, fuck you, fuck that team. Like I'm thinking of all the terrible things that could happen to that team. Like I want you to lose. I'm not saying anyone should tear anything or blow anything or anything like that, but I want you to lose. I just want you to lose. I don't want you
Just
to
get
win.
a 2 week flu. You know,
Yeah,
get a
something
2 week flu.
mild, something mild.
Yeah.
Turf
Yeah.
toe. I actually don't know what turf toe is, so it could be terrible. But yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
It seems so serious because they get turf toe and then they're
But
just like,
they be playing with it though. Niggas be playing with turf toe.
Right. It's kind of weird because you can get turf toe on like a hardwood floor. And
Yeah,
it's kind of like, well, maybe you should get a better name for this.
yeah.
I also don't know what plantar fasciitis is. So, there's also that.
I know it's like the bridge of your foot.
Yeah, that's all I know.
Yeah.
I know it's very serious. It's extremely painful, but like couldn't tell you what it is.
Shout out to
I've never been athletic enough to ever have to worry about getting plantar fasciitis or turf toe.
I've only experienced it through other people, through other
Exactly.
people. Yeah.
It can't just be like, yeah, that's not. I mean, I pulled a hamstring before and all that stuff and sprained a knee, but I never torn my ACL or anything. I've seen someone tear one. It wasn't that gruesome, honestly. He kind of just sat up, was like, it's probably torn.
He's like,
no, it really was. Like, it was so strange. The two most gruesome injuries, or the the two most serious injuries that I witnessed like in high school were both playing football, and one of them was the ACL injury. Our quarterback, Morgan Bennett, was sliding on a QB run towards our bench on the sideline, and he just sat down and he wouldn't get up. And the coach was like, "Yeah, I can't move my leg. I think it's torn." He just like very plainly, I was like, "Wow, okay, I guess that's what tearing your ACL feels like." Once we found out what it was, and then Brad Purdy, a DB for our football team, again, different season though, making a tackle over the middle of the field. Again, just sitting down, and the coach is like, "Get your ass up! What are you doing? What are you doing?" He's like, "Coach, I'm hurt." He's like, "Get up! Get off the field so we can get." And he's like, "No, I think it's broken." He's like, "What?" And he lifts his arm up, and it's like, instead of like this, it's like, imagine this isn't here.
Jeez.
Yeah, compound fracture, bone out the arm, and everything. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Hey, coach, maybe calm the fuck down.
Well, he couldn't see it, and there was no like tears or writhing pain. I guess the moral of the story is that injuries don't hurt when you do it in sports. So
well, the adrenaline probably.
That's 100% what it was. I'm sure it was excruciating for Brad.
He screamed all entirely.
Throughout the whole process, once he got to the hospital, it was probably a shit show. But it was badass the way that it happened. It really made him seem like such a fucking dog because he's literally just sitting in the field, like, "Yeah, I think it's broken." Like, yeah, you think? Yeah. Your arm doesn't bend that way.
It's gonna be a definite, buddy. Wait, so before we get too far into the gruesome injuries, you're saying you got OKC winning tomorrow, whatever day this.
Yeah. The MVP is not gonna. They're gonna have Scott Foster as a ref. That's one. I don't know this to be true. I'm just assuming Scott Foster is going to be a ref. And the last time Scott Foster was a ref, there were some egregious shake calls, more egregious than the normal egregious shake calls, I might add. So I just have a feeling it's going to be a big shake game. It's hard to win in that kind of environment. And I just think this is one of those, they fed off of the energy of the home crowd. Indiana protected home court in this game. They did what they were supposed to do. I think they lost the series in game 4 when they lost that game. I think you have to win that game to keep the pressure on OKC. And once you gave them home court back, now OKC, all they have to do is protect home court, and I think they do that.
Interesting. I would like to think that, as I said.
Right, because it's fuck the Pacers season. I got you.
Rooting against them for sure. But yeah, man. The thing is I didn't expect it to get this far. So the fact that it's coming down to a game 7, every single player in the series is super young. Like the fact that TJ McConnell's like the second oldest guy.
He's like 30.
Yeah. Like he's the second oldest guy on the Pacers. It's like, wow, these are two really young teams. Which brings me to another question I would ask you. Do you feel like we're looking at the future of the league? When I say that, I mean like, should we expect that both of these teams are going to be around for a while? Or is this kind of like are we looking at a potential, like, all right, like this was your shot, and then, maybe it's somebody else's turn next year because the league is just kind of turning over the way that things are happening right now?
I'm going to be extremely careful with the answer here because I do want to pay the proper respect to the Pacers, who have been to back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals, by the way. So it's not like this is just Embiid wasn't healthy and this, that, and the third happened and they didn't have to play against the Bucks and all. Or they didn't have to play against Dame Lillard on the Bucks and all. They were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. They lost, but they were in that game, or in that series. So I do think that they are a team to reckon with. I do think there's some more work that has to be done. There are some holes that will need filling. Players like Halliburton's going to have to find another gear. I don't think he'll be able to get away with next year being that, Chris Paul type of point guard where it's like, I can have 14 points and five assists and like, that's a good game. Now he was hurt, but like, I think he's going to finally become a guy where it's like, look, I need to have 20 and 8, 20 and 10, between 20 and 8 and 20 and 10 every single night. I need to make a couple of threes every single night. I need to be out there bringing my energy, pushing the pace every single night, because that's what happens when you're a great player. And I don't know if they're quite ready for that as currently constituted. With OKC, they're only going to get better. Like
you're confident they're only going to get better.
I'm very confident in OKC is only going to get better. The more darts that Sam Presti gets to throw at the board with these picks and these trades and all this other kind of shit, it's like he's terrifying to me. Just as a front office executive, it just seems like he doesn't make many, if any, false moves. And if he does, you forget about him immediately because in that same year or within a 1 year span, he's rectifying that bad move with a good move. Like I think they have a draft and stash guy that's going to be playing next year that's supposed to be really fucking good. I don't know his name. He's a Euro, but like this guy, like Sam Presti, just always has a trick up his sleeve, and he seems like he's 3, 4, 5 steps ahead of most of the other franchises. So I do think so. I don't think this is a model though for where the league is going. I think that it shows that you're capable of doing it. You don't have to be I think the big three type of era is gone with the way that the rules are changing. And the hard cap that's coming in, or the apron as they like to call it, that's forcing kind of like a hard cap on the rest of these teams, even in bigger markets. So I think it just is going to behoove teams to go for a little bit more depth over just having a really awesome starting five and then no depth. But no, I think a lot of teams, your Knicks are still good. They don't have the same coach, but they have the same players. They're going to be good. The Sixers hopefully will be better than they were. The Bucks will be better because they were injured at the end of last year. The Celtics will probably have a down year, no Tatum. But and there's always some teams that surprise. You never know who's going to step. Detroit was good. They're only going to get better as well. So I think that it's going to be a constant battle in the East, but the West, I think it's going to get dark for teams unless the skinny Luka, like we're seeing in all these photos, is real, and not just like an off season away from tapas in LA and shit. Okay. He's actually like serious about getting in the gym. You know, maybe LeBron slipped him some green juice in a Bowflex or some shit like that. I don't know, but that's the only way I could see OKC getting challenges is maybe if the Lakers, or if Cooper Flag really is who the league seems to think he's going to be.
Yeah, I think we're a little ways away from Cooper Flag having that kind of impact. But
we don't want good things for Nico Harrison anyway. So,
yeah, like, at least not right out the gate. Like, come on, get the fuck out of here. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm trying to imagine these two teams being like the team. You know what I mean? And I don't see it. And I'm trying to decide if, mind you, I before the playoffs started, I thought OKC would win the finals. So, like, I believe that they were this good, based on the regular season record and everything, right? Like, this team is just really good, stacked. They got players at every position. But I don't. And maybe because they're so young, maybe that's part of it too, right? Maybe they need to, whichever team wins this, they gain some sort of confidence and they feel like they can beat everybody. You see, we saw that with the Warriors, and I'm not comparing any of these teams to the Warriors, but we saw the 2015 version of the Warriors totally different from, like, and I'm not just saying because they added Kevin Durant, but like the confidence level that they had by the time
100%. I give it. Yeah, I give it. Yeah,
it was just like, what the fuck?
They moved differently through the league.
Not counting the season where they fucking broke the record for wins in a regular season.
Because they lost the finals that year, by the way.
Right, they lost the finals, but they lost finals in Game 7. They easily could have won that series, right? Like, so it's not to discount that, but like the confidence that they had, and especially coming off of the loss or whatever, like they were such a dominant team. That was the last time we were like, going into the season, we're like, I feel like this team's probably going to win unless something crazy happens. And that's kind of what I'm asking. It's like, I don't know that looking at these two teams that I could say next year, like, I feel like one of these two teams it's like the favorite and they're probably going to win unless something crazy happens. I feel like this shit is so wide open that we might get another finals next year where some team gets hot the second half of the season and like makes a run all the way to the finals. I mean,
there's no way either one of these teams enter next season as a favorite to win the title. Just Vegas won't let that happen.
Odds are already out. OKC is the favorite, and I think the Pacers are like...
Odds are out already? The season's not even over. How the fuck are the odds? I mean, I can't follow odds because I can't bet NBA, so like none of that stuff really truly matters. But the fact that the odds are out and there's still a game left in the finals is...
Yeah, they've been out for
That's
weeks.
Crazy.
OKC is the favorite. I think...
Stand corrected.
Not mistaken.
I would have thought. I honestly would have thought it would have been like the Lakers or something.
No, it's OKC
because they have Luka.
OKC, Cleveland, New York, Indiana, I think, are the top 4. Don't
Cleveland?
we can check that. Listen, man. Look, they won 64 games.
Great. Awesome. No. LeBron ain't walking through them doors anytime soon, buddy. Sorry.
Well, we don't know that either, but hey.
Also, that's
You know
also
what I'm saying?
true.
LeBron might be tight. He might be like, yo, man, I put my $10 billion bid in for the Lakers too, and they got denied.
Well, his son's gonna go be playing at Arizona, so he might want to be traded to the Suns, something like that.
Suns?
Be a little bit closer to
KD.
be a little closer to Bryce Maximus. You know what I mean? Hey, maybe KD Luka connection.
That would be ridiculous.
It would be, honestly, basketball wise, it probably fit a little bit better because KD really doesn't need the ball in his hands to be effective. So he proved that playing with the Warriors. So, but it's not going to happen. It's just funny to say. But no, I stand corrected. I didn't think that there was a chance that either one of these teams would be the favorites. I thought they'd be listed like maybe in the top 5 to 8, but I didn't think there was a chance that either one of these teams would be number 1 as the favorite. So shout out to OKC and shout out to Vegas for smart odds, because they would have been my favorite to at least make it back to the NBA Finals. I don't know about winning it. It's hard to win back-to-back finals, but definitely to make it, because I just like how this team is built. I think they're built to last. Their star is just incredible. His personality is infectious. I think the way that Presti has built this team with a bunch of selfless guys who are also dogs, it's a hard balance to walk. You know what I mean? Like it's a hard thing to put together. Are guys that have killer instinct, but also are kind of like, for lack of a better word, super Canadian in the way that they're just kind of like, oh, these guys are awesome, and can I put my mates in the commercial, with me?
I don't think that's how
it is. Shai Gilgeous in every commercial has all his boys in there, and that's what you're supposed.
But no, I don't think he said mates. That's British. He's trying to put his man's them in there or some shit. I don't know.
Man them? That doesn't sound like something Shai would say. I feel like mates is the thing.
Ask Drake. Drake knows. Drake will tell
Drake would know. Yeah. Fam.
Read Drake lyrics. And that'll
my God, fam. Oh my God, my guys. And
yo,
speaking of NBA, man. Shout out to our Canucks in the building.
Yeah.
America owns hockey. Anyways, talking about the NBA, we have the NBA draft coming up shortly after the NBA Finals concludes. A little bit selfish here because I didn't necessarily want to talk about prospects and who you want your team to pick and all that other kind of stuff. But there's a prospect that has been linked to my 76ers since we won the 3rd pick in the lottery and saved our chances at.
Did you win the 3rd?
That was a win.
Okay.
We won the 3rd pick. Because if we didn't get the 3rd pick, we lose the pick. It would have gone to Oklahoma City, ironically enough. So
understand.
Yeah, so super, super happy about that. So we got the 3rd overall pick. We don't get Dylan Harper. We don't get Cooper Flagg. But we were supposed to get Ace Bailey. Ace Bailey is famously not working out for any teams, or he hasn't, at least to this point. His whole offseason leading up and the whole pre-draft process has been riddled with different controversies and owners and GMs worried about his style of play, shot selection, the way he is interviewed, the way that he has sounded, and the press talking about those interviews and talking about his game and things like that. And now the newest thing to come across the table is what has been reported by our good friend Jason Dumas at 6ABC in Philadelphia, which is saying that he had a meeting with the 76ers brass that he had agreed to and then canceled. So Malik, my question to you is, if this is your team, what do you do? Do you still draft the players? Does the talent outweigh the headache of the pre-draft process? Is it just a thing that you do as posturing and maybe you don't take it personally? Or is this something that's, he's off your board now?
I think you have to assume if the player is being kind of weird to that degree to where we're canceling, scheduled meetings, that they don't want to play for your team. Maybe he sees the Sixers as having, too many players who would take his opportunities to shine as the number 3 pick, which I could understand. Maybe that could be the thought process. Maybe someone else is telling him that. To me, it's like if he's, I guess you have to consider the board, and it's like if this guy is consensus number 3 and someone is going to take him, then I think you shop the pick, because at that point, you're not. It doesn't make sense to take a player who doesn't want to be there and is probably not going to buy into what you want him to do, regardless of how talented he is. So, and you can't get rid of your best player. You also can't get rid of Paul George. Obviously, why would you want to get rid of Tyrese Maxey? Like, he's super young and he's awesome. It would be difficult to sort of get rid of all these things and build around Ace Bailey and Tyrese Maxey. So, to me, if you feel like this guy's definitely the third best player, and somebody's going to take him, and you can get value for that pick, I think your job from here until the time that they say you're on the clock is to figure out what kind of value you can get for the pick. And to be honest, I think the Sixers should have been thinking that anyway. It doesn't really, to me, it never really made sense for them to actually take the third best player in this draft and try to integrate them into their team, just because of where they are. Like, they're just not in the position to add a player of that caliber with very little experience, I should say. Who's also,
I don't know. I kind of.
well,
I
also,
mean,
you got to think, you take the third pick in the draft, like, the contracts are set. You're getting paid $10 million. So why would you pay $10 million to a guy who's probably not going to play when you could give that $10 million to a role player?
Well, the point is the third best player in the draft probably should play, no matter how good the team is, unless you drafted the guy wrong. It should be the ultimate indictment. Now, it's not to say that this young man can't change around his career, or that maybe his situation wasn't unique, but was it Reed Shepard who was like the number 2 overall pick or whatever in the last, or number 1 overall pick?
I think he went third. Yeah.
For Houston, it's like the fucking G League the whole time, which he was clearly too good for the G League. He had like a couple of 40 pieces in there, but it's like, okay, you didn't even play for this team. You didn't contribute for this team. But meanwhile, even before the Sixers season went totally to shit, Jared McCain, who was the 16th pick, was getting minutes, and he was probably in line to be, if not the rookie of the year, at least in the running. Definitely all rookie first team. So when you look at a guy as talented as an Ace Bailey, and the fact that he could fill a hole on the wing that we need wing scoring. We need a guy that can shoot and create their own shot. We need floor spacing, which he can provide, being a good shooter. You're a guy that could help this team, and his size allows for some positional versatility that all teams are looking for, especially the best teams are looking for. So if you're a team that's going to be up and coming, like, it would behoove you to get a team. Like when the Warriors got that number 2 pick during the COVID year, it was unfortunate that James Wiseman didn't pan out and become the player that they thought he was going to be, because he was supposed to lighten the burden for Draymond Green. That was what they drafted him for. You don't get rid of that pick or trade that pick because you think, oh, well, we're on a track to win more rings and we're not trying to groom this young man along. It was like, no, they did everything they could to maximize the fact that a team as good as we are, we had a down year, and we're going to maximize our talent and take this opportunity with the number 2 overall pick to take a guy at a position in need who is extremely talented and maybe extend, this team's ceiling a little bit longer. And perhaps best case scenario, Draymond and Steph and all those guys pass the torch down to a guy like a James Wiseman or a guy like a Jonathan Kuminga, so that down the road they can be the new leaders.
But see, here's the thing: the reason why everyone talks about that pick in such a negative way is because, one, it just wasn't. It didn't make any. It didn't fit. Like, he didn't fit that team at all. He wasn't theoretically speaking, in the 6 games that he played at Memphis, you could see some flashes of like a really good player. But even still, like, everybody who looks back at that draft is like, why didn't the Warriors just take Tyrese Halliburton? Like, why didn't they just take LaMelo Ball? Those 2 guys, and I know LaMelo Ball's style of play probably is a little bit wild for what.
Well, famously, LaMelo Ball actually tanked their interview the same way Ace Bailey is doing now. I think They said he famously tanked because he didn't want to go to Golden State.
And guess what? I wouldn't have picked him. But there are a lot of people. I believe this has come. These things always come out after the fact. There were a lot of people in the Warriors organization who wanted to take Tyrese Halliburton, but for whatever reason, the owner said he wanted uh, the team to take James Wiseman. Which it's like, never listen to your owner. What the fuck does he know about basketball? Just give us the money and shut the fuck up.
He's just a billionaire.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? That's
just give us the money and move out of the way. Unfortunately, it can never work that way. But to me, like, I think, yeah, theoretically speaking, he could do all those things, right? But like the thing with prospects, with players that you draft, is it's all theory. And to be honest, the only way that you actually ever really get the most out of those guys is if you give them ample opportunity to fail, right? Like, they need opportunity to fail and sort of get the space. They need a defined role, and they need to be able to like fail in that role until they can figure out, okay, I can't do this, I can't do that. We saw that with Cade Cunningham. It took him 2 to 3 years before we really saw like how great he could be. And then everyone turned the corner like, oh, I guess he's good now, so we love Cade. It's like, he was good before. He wasn't put in a position to succeed. Then he got hurt, right? So like, to me, yeah, theoretically speaking, he's good on the wing and he can score and all that. But like, isn't that what you got Paul George for? And yes, I know I'm saying that. I know you're probably thinking like, fuck that guy. But
not thinking it.
but yeah, I think you can get some, like, if you can move down a couple spots and get something for moving down a couple spots, even if you move down a couple spots and get a pick in another draft next year, right? Like, I don't know. To me, I just don't think that it makes a whole lot of sense to take a player who clearly doesn't. Like, you're not skipping out on meetings for teams that you want to play for, right? Like, that just,
For me, I agree with you. For me, like, you're personally off of my board, not because of just that. It's really the detail of you accepting the meeting and then canceling. If you would have declined the meeting altogether, and I would have been like, okay, clearly he's just trying to polish, or he's trying to move down, whatever it is, I would trust my scouts. If my scouts still said, hey, he is the third best talent, honestly, it's really a coin toss between him and Dylan Harper on who is the better talent. Whatever the case may be, then we still take him at 3 because I'm a big best player available guy. When you're a team that's picking at the top, even if it's because of a down year or randomly you won the lottery or your ping pong ball fell into a place that it wasn't supposed to when you jumped up a few spots the way Philadelphia did, you take the best player available. You're not trying to necessarily fit a need. Now, you don't want to reach at a position that you don't need and things like that. But if you have an opportunity to take the best player available, then you take that player. Unless it's so egregious against your thing. Like, I mean, the Spurs, it's not even talked about. They're obviously going to take Dylan Harper. They have 2 point guards, including the rookie of the year in this past season in Stephon Castles, who plays point guard. I mean,
he's a 2 guard.
Yeah, okay. You could argue that, and I would agree with you in that he's more of a
his best position, I think, in the NBA would be playing the 2.
combo guard. He's just a guard. He's a combo guard. Sometimes he can bring the ball up the floor. He's like a J-Dub type of thing, whereas like he's not a point guard per se, but if he got you a triple double or got you 6-7 assists a game, you wouldn't be surprised because he's good with the ball in his hand. Yeah. But he's a guy that needs the ball in his hand. He's not a guard that plays off the ball. That's not his game. He's a guard that needs the ball in his hands. De'Aaron Fox is a point guard, and now you're going to bring another rookie point guard into this whole equation. So it is one of those.
You could flip De'Aaron Fox, right? Like,
you can, and that's what I wanted the Sixers to do. This is an ideal scenario for me because honestly, and it sounds like a homer thing because I'm a Duke fan, but I want the 76ers. They need shooting. And they need a guy that can just fit a role before you become a star or whatever, this, that, and the third. Like what they say in Belly DMX, put the weed in the bag first. And we need somebody to put the weed in the bag. You know what I'm saying? Go stand in the corner, make a 3. Go come off this brush screen, make a 3. You know who does that better than anybody else in the draft? Conconupple. You can't take Conconupple at number 3. Personally, I think the value is not there. I think you can take advantage of a team like Washington, who kind of got jobbed out of a pick, maybe you get some future picks, or maybe you kick the tires on a. I wouldn't necessarily go with Jordan Poole, but like there's probably some talented players
Marcus
somewhere
Middleton.
on a team that's in. Yeah, or maybe you go after the Utah Jazz with like the 5th pick in this draft, I think. So like but there's a team that's picking somewhere in the top 5 or 6. Don't trade out. I wouldn't trade below 6, but I would probably try and see if Utah would be willing to part ways with their pick at 5, trade down, maybe get something of value. Throw in Paul George and see if they'll give you Laurie Marketing. I don't know, but I would like to get Concanupple on this team. I think when you have a draft that's as good as this one is, and as deep, I think this draft goes at least 10 to 12 players deep, with real early contributors, maybe if not first year, at least rookie deal contributors, which is rare, to have that many in a single draft. I think that this draft is very, very deep in that reserve pool, and there are guys that can come in and immediately play a role even at the top, and then also have a high ceiling of, hey, there's more to be mined out of this player, but while they're learning to develop that at the NBA level, this is an elite talent that they have. Concanupple has proven, hey, he can be the man. He is the reason Duke won the ACC tournament, when he had to have the ball in his hands. But right now, when Cooper Flag was healthy, off the ball, make shots, spread the floor, get in there and rebound, play some defense, do that. He can do that at the NBA level. At least making the shots. I don't know about the defense, but he can at least make some shots at the NBA level, and he's got good size. So I would like to see them do that. But as far as I think it's bad business. I don't know the business of the NBA that well. I don't know. I'd be interested to see what Jason thinks about it. I haven't really talked to him about it offline, but I personally I don't love it for the kid at all, honestly.
It's not a good look, but I mean, it's a players' league, right? I think, and I feel like we said something similar with Shedeur Sanders in the NFL draft. Like a lot of times, it's people in your ear telling you things, right? Combined with you feel a certain way about something. So maybe it's just people just telling you that you're right when you feel a certain way, and it's just like, well, I mean, this guy's gonna be making the money, so
Usually.
let's just tell him he's right. Unless you got the balls to be like, hey, actually no, or you think they're so wrong that you're gonna miss out on money. But this kid's gonna get drafted in the top. I mean, if the Sixers trade the pick, he's gonna go 3 to whoever
Yeah,
they trade the pick
he
with.
won't make it out of the top 5 at all. Like, there's no way. I don't care what he does. You know what I mean? Aside from like tearing his ACL boarding the plane to get to New York or wherever the draft is being held, which God forbid any of that. I don't want to wish injury on anybody, but like that would have to be the ridiculous level of circumstances for this kid to fall out of the top 5. He is very clearly, at the very least, the 3rd most talented player in this draft, and most teams would be stupid not to take him, but Philly has the luxury of not needing him and not needing to deal with a player that doesn't want to be there. And the last thing this team needs is another headache or another diva who hasn't even been in the league and is already worried about how many shots he's going to get up and what his role is going to be on the team. Like,
that's the game now, right? Like I said,
yeah.
it's already a players' league. You got guys who are coming into pro sports who have, deals already on the table, or they had deals that or have already, they already well into their deals in terms of the, NIL and all that other stuff. Like these guys, they kind of understand the business. So like you said, like, you don't know the business of basketball. Like I think the business of basketball is changing a little bit, where some of these guys just feel like I actually don't need to, like, the money you're giving me, maybe it's still more than I'm making, but like, I'm gonna get the money regardless. Like I want to go somewhere where I want to go. And I mean, that's not necessarily totally new, but I think to do it in this way kind of stands out. It's like, oh, okay, this fucking guy think he is. You know what I mean? But listen, there are probably some guys who wish, looking back, that they did that. Who were like, I went to this team and I tried it out, and and I thought like maybe I was gonna get this kind of treatment, and then I kind of found out like I was like not even second fiddle. I was like the 15th fiddle. It's like, hey, buddy, like you mentioned, old boy from Houston, the point guard,
Reed
Reed
Shepard.
Shepard. Yeah, like
Yep.
everyone loved Reed Shepard in the draft. We didn't see Reed Shepard at all in the season. His team made the playoffs and had the number 2 seed in the Western Conference, and I didn't see Reed Shepard out there. Like, so I'm pretty sure Reece Shepard wished he was like, you know what? Actually, I'm good, Houston. Like, I want to go somewhere where I'm actually going to get some playing time.
And that's the rub here for me. That's the situation that I don't love. Like we touched on, it's just there's not enough competitive humility in some of these guys that they don't see the value in anything. It's like it's very short-sighted for me, and it makes me wonder about his surroundings and the people that are in his ear, because he's 19. He's supposed to have an underdeveloped brain, or not really be thinking about things in the most mature ways, or whatever the case may be. And maybe it is, maybe we're old timey and the times are just changing and it's good for the times to change. I don't know. It's not to say that we're right or wrong, but the line of thinking here is like, look, you haven't proven anything at the NBA level. We have seen elite prospects and number 1 picks all the way through number 60 picks come and go, and some strike gold, and some people that don't get drafted at all end up making it into the Hall of Fame. So you just never know what you're going to get. All of it is a gamble. All of it is a gambit. There's something to value about a team wanting you. If you're getting picked on draft night, it's because somewhere in there is a person who pounded the table for you. They wanted you, or it was just very clear you were the XYZ best player. You were the best person available for this team, and they wanted you on the team. And now it is on you to show that team what you can do. But unfortunately, where a lot of this current college landscape and the way things work with NIL and or at least before the new deal has been struck with the NCAA and everything, but the way it all worked was, hey, we're just going to pay you and give you the keys and whatever you want, and we got to constantly recruit you even after we sign you and pay you. There are college football recruits that are signed and are getting like $10,000 a month just to maintain their commitment to that team and not flip their commitment last minute or whatever. And like, I couldn't be a sports information director because I'd be like, fuck you. If you want to flip last minute, go ahead. And I hope you flip to a team in our division, because not only do I recruit your strengths, but I know your weaknesses, right, and we on your top.
Yeah.
But, that's just a competitor in me. And I don't want somebody on my team. Now, if he, this Philadelphia 76ers take him and he turns out to be great, like, fine, whatever. But I won't be mad if they trade out of the pick. I won't be mad if they trade down and get somebody at a better value later on in the draft, which is something that I think that they should do rather than just moving on from the pick altogether. But I don't love the look. Like,
you got to take
this is not a good look.
Yeah, you got to take the meeting.
You have to take the meeting.
Even if you say, hey, respectfully, I don't think this is the right team for me. Like, be a man and just do that in the meeting. Like, right. I think the team will respect you.
Like, I would rather do this, or I'd rather go to this team or go to that team, or whatever the case may be. You go and you take him because you don't know when you're going to cross paths.
Right.
What if Daryl Moore? Like, what if you want to go to the? What if say, okay, I want to go to Utah, right? And then all of a sudden things suck in Philly. He loses his job. Danny Ainge is like, I have an opportunity to bring in Daryl Morey, and now your new president of basketball operations is the guy who you spurned a year and a half ago when he wanted to bring you in for a draft workout. But do you think you're going to be his favorite, or are you going to be on the fucking chopping block? Or is he going to be looking for another wing to bring in because you're not his cup of tea? You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of stuff you're constantly creating and fostering these relationships. And you got to be careful with how you treat people. You don't want to burn a bridge.
True. It's true.
Hope it's not a lesson that he has to learn the hard way, but that was just a quick little, it was something that we heard. It was something that I didn't love because it obviously adversely affects my team. And, that's ultimately who I cared about a lot here. But just from the perspective for the kid, I hope that whatever it is that you want to get out of this draft process, you get it, make all of the money that you can, have a great NBA career. But just from the outside looking in, from a guy that's never been in your position, take that for what it's worth. I think there are better ways to go about the business.
I think we can say that without being in his position. I think there was a better way to handle it. But, like you said, hopefully he has a good long career.
Exactly. We'll see. Well, it remains to be seen. Well, let's finish this off the way we finish off all of our episodes here, Malik, with some dad rules. For me, mine isn't necessarily a rule. This week, this is just kind of a love letter to my baby girl. who we actually we cut this out of the pod, obviously, because it was just awkward for a while I'm like having a conversation through the microphone with my baby who's FaceTiming me. But my child earlier this week on Tuesday, actually, she flew out to my hometown of Newport, Rhode Island with my mother and two of her cousins. Um, she's going to be out there for 3 weeks. Is the first time that Jasmine or myself has spent extended time away, more than just a weekend or a couple of days away from our precious baby girl. So even though she's with loved ones and with my mom, and she's taking in the same sites that I took in, as a young pup growing up in Rhode Island, it was difficult. It was difficult to let her go. It's a much needed break. It's a break that me and Jasmine definitely needed, but it is difficult to watch your young one go the first time that you have to do it. So I know for you, and your son just started daycare and everything. This is just a whole new world. It's like sending your kid to sleepaway camp, and she's not even 2 years old right now. So it's definitely a new experience. Like finding new ways to fill in my day. I worked the early shift today. I was back home by like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's like I'm driving past the exit to her school, and I'm like, oh, I don't have to go pick her up. Well, now what do I do?
Oh,
I went home and I did laundry. I'm like still doing laundry now because I was so confused and thrown off with like what to do with my day. Jasmine's in Charlotte for her uncle's housewarming, and my daughter's in Rhode Island
oh,
with
so you got free
with my
crib, free
mom.
crib.
Yeah, free crib. It's like me. I'm like Tom Brady minus the Ray Ban. Yeah, not Tom Brady. Tom Cruise minus the Ray Bans. You know what I mean? Doing the slide
I do,
across the
yeah.
living
It's
room
not a
floor.
good,
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? Yeah, risky business reference for y'all who are don't understand movies before 2001. But no, it's just that no rule. Just I miss. This is just a guy who misses his baby. Um, I'm gonna have to refrain from looking at pictures tonight because it'll get dusty in the room for sure. So yeah, just hold your kids close. They're gonna grow up faster than you think, and I am looking forward to July 12th when I get to fly out to Rhode Island and pick my baby up and bring her back home.
That's beautiful, man. I mean,
Thank you.
listen, can I top that? I have no rule this week either. I will say though, we are 6 days away from my son turning 1 years old, which is crazy, crazy, crazy. So yeah, I mean, again, no rule, just man, the time just
How
goes.
quick was that first year, man?
It goes by so fast. Like honestly, just like to all the dads, new dads coming up, like just cherish every moment, man. Like it really going through all the pictures and trying to look, grab pictures for to do like a little photo wall of like the 12 months that he's been in the world with us. Like just seeing little things that I guess I kind of forgot, and definitely like that first 3 to 4 months where you're like not sleeping and your brain is just like clearly somewhere else, in a blender, you know what I'm saying, in a bottle warmer or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, like those moments, and obviously the moments now that are super fresh to my mind, like him walking around the house and like just playing, and like I said, me taking him to daycare, like these little things, like it all goes so quickly. So yeah, you really got to cherish it, like in every way possible. You got to cherish it because dude, they grow up really fast. It's like it's no bullshit. They really grow up that fast.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds cliche, but it's so true. Like you blink your eyes and it's like, wow. Like, not too long after your son turns 1, my daughter will be turning 2. Like, and like, in 2 months, my daughter will be 2 years old. And it's like I I I don't even know where the time has gone. Like I look at pictures from when we first moved into our house, and the engagement photos from the night that I bent the knee for Jasmine and asked for her hand in marriage outside of our first home as a family and everything, and it was
I love that
gave
you
her the
said.
knee.
I love you said
Shout
bend
out
the
to
knee.
Khaleesi.
I'm pretty sure it's popped
Bent
the
the knee.
question. Bend the
No, I
knee
bent the
is
knee.
Game of Thrones.
I know what it
Oh,
is.
okay,
Yeah,
respect,
yeah,
respect.
yeah. I call it a giving my knee. That's what I call it.
Oh, okay, okay.
You
That
give the person your
sounds like a
knee because
boys to
it's
men
I
moment.
mean, yeah. Ultimate, it's a well. On Bended Knee is their song. I'm giving you my knee. This is what it is. I'm just fully submitting to that relationship. But it's, just looking back at all those photos and pictures of videos of her just stuffing a frozen strawberry in her face, or, bouncing around to Miss Rachel, to now she can't shut up about Baby Shark. And the moments when we had to like hold the back of her shirt as she's trying to stand up and bop to the TV because she can't quite hold her balance yet, to now, she's running around the house and all of that. So it's just wild to see how quickly, the kids grow, and to really appreciate that as a dad. Is just anybody out there, new dad, experienced dad, whatever it is, it's just, you understand. And if you don't know yet, you'll find out very, very soon that these are times to be cherished, man.
Flies by. So I'm excited.
Light speed.
I can't wait to celebrate them. Spent all day at my grandmother's house cleaning up the backyard, and man, did a lot of
Before and after.
did a lot of because you got to straighten, you got to straighten up.
Mm-hmm.
You
can't fuck up grandma's crib.
No, not at all. So I can't believe it, but we're both really excited, man. And kids, they just kind of take over your life, and they don't really, they give you no warning. They just come in, they take over. It's like a freaking tornado. And then, like you said, they leave for 2 weeks, and you're just like, oh, I guess I'll just do laundry.
Exactly. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's just, you get FaceTime calls from them in the middle of recording a podcast, and, it makes you emotional again. So you just, I don't know, man. It's being a girl dad specifically, especially for me, it's awakened a whole new, unlocked a whole new sensitive side, and just made me a lot more keenly aware of how I feel about stuff, how the different things that I hold dear, and the things that I cherish a little bit more. So it's been awesome learning this dad stuff on the fly. So shout out to our kids, man. And Coleman, man, happy first birthday, first of many. Way to go, King. Shout out to you, brother. And shout out to you and Shan for holding it down. 1 full year as parents, man. You did it. The kid's still alive, still breathing, still still 10 fingers, 10 toes and everything like that. So
I haven't checked recently, but I'll double check. He hasn't lost a digit.
Not quite yet. Yeah. There's still time.
Yeah. Wait a minute. There's only 9 here.
Damn it. Where did I put that other toe?
Yeah.
Oh man. Nah, we always appreciate everybody that contributes to our lives, that has helped make our journey as dads that much easier, including our parents, all of the tribe, everyone that's around us. That you guys are awesome. We would not be able to do any of this without you. We could not imagine being dads. We wouldn't be able to sit here and do dad rules and be able to laugh about little things with our kids without the contributions of so many people that play their part behind the scenes or in front of the camera and all that kind of stuff. So just speaking for both of us here, man, we love and appreciate all you guys, and extend that same love and appreciation to anybody that rocks with us and listens to us here on the No Rules podcast, man. You guys are an extension of that family. So we love you. We appreciate you guys as well. And thank you guys for listening to another episode of the No Rules podcast.
Yes, sir. Peace.